coffee. Yeah. Are you there? Okay. Shall we start the history of the Malaripa? Oh yeah, that's nice. Finally, here's the how Jetson Malaripa followed Marwa of the Lodok. Marwa is the teacher's name. Lodok is like this area's name. In the region of the Ngari Kantong, in the Tut, near the border of Tibet and India, there lived a rich man by the name of the Melahirab Jansen. That is the father of the Malaripa. It was this man had a son and a daughter. Son's name is Malaripa, and daughter's name is Petanguns. And it was the son whose name was Malaripa. Malay joy to hear Tupagas. Tupaga, this is father gift name. Who was become Jetson Malaripa. When the two children were still small, their father died. And before the father died, all his possessed things, quite very rich, he was very worried to his children and wife. And he asked to his brother and sisters, "Can you keep my rich things, jewels, golds, and many things? Because it's my wife and children's too small. When they grow up, could you give back?" Then he died. Their uncle, whose name was Yongdong Jansen. Yongdong means swastika. Jansen is the panels. Appropriated all their wealth and possession. Of course, before father died, they really took, "Oh, no problem. We will give you. Then when you die, no problem. We look after children, and later on we will give back to them all what you say." Mala's father was very happy. They took away, appropriate all their wealth and possessions. The two children and their mother, Nyum Sakajan, left with neither food or money. Of course, they haven't got much food, money, after his husband has passed away. We're forced to undergo many hardships. Then after this Mullah's father died, the mother and children almost become the slave of the uncle and aunties. And after it's like his mother was very angry, then Marwa is a little bit bigger, Tupaga, asked to him, "Now you shoot to revenge, you get to back." One day, and she make very nice, the kind of the festival, try. Invited the uncle, Yongdong Jansen, and this sister of her husband, say, "Now my children is grow up, whatever my husband's like kind of ask to keep the belongings now necessary. We received those appropriate or the things." Of course, uncles, auntie said this, "No, your husband never give to any We don't give you any other. Oh, that is belonging us, not yours. They beat her and insult her, like very much did bad things. And then it's like mother's angry, asked to her son Tupaga, you should to revenge your enemy. And then it's like maybe also they heard there's one like kind of casting spells teacher. And then it's like mother sent Tupaga to these teachers. Mila learned the art of the casting spell, means black magic maker. Making like kind of the hailstorm from the magician Yongtan Trojal, that is the image of the Zong and the Lajie. Thus from through this kind of teachers, he studied cast spell, and some is like magic in order to make like kind of making hailstorms. And also he very strong magics. He made these hailstorms, all these tongues. He destroyed kind of tribe, and a lot of families made problems. And then is one day his uncles, like a kind of the doctor, and during the marriage, and brought about the death of his uncle's son and daughter in a law, together with 33 other people, by making the house collapsed. Like their marriage on the second floor, and then under the first floor under theirs in Tibet sometime too, there are a lot of horse, and they give horse the grass, and certainly some is like magically, some is crab, some animals can, then horse run, their whole house collapsed. That you look in the Malaripa, Jetsa Malaripa's history. And then it's a lot of people, like more than the 33 people died. When all the local people turned angrily against him, this Malaripa, he caused such a hailstorm that the hair lay on the ground as deep as 3 courses of the claim walls, almost like kind of the 50 meters, the snow is. This size of the snowstorm he made, or the hailstorm. Then is of course lot of destroyed, died animal, many. Afterward, repeating his misdeed, repenting his kind of misdeed. That means that he was such regret his misdeed. He decided to practice Dharma. He was very much to understood that. And also it's like the coast spell masters, they told to also Malaripa says, we did such negative things. And then now we are need to practice Dharma. Then it's Malaripa, they send it to practice Dharma. And then it's like he went and taking the advice of the Lama Yongten. Yongten is it's the like a teacher of the magic spells. says you should to go to see that there's one great master, Ronton Lagas. He wanted to see on a depth of the great perfections. Is like kind of the a depth means like kind of the scholar, like Wyatt. The great perfection, Dzogchen Chimbus, by the name of the Ronton Laga, and asked him for the instruction. And Ronton Laga Dharma are teachers, teachers. Dharma I teachers. That means it's like my Dharma teaching. The Lama Ronton Laga replied, is the great perfections. Its root is the conquest of the beginning. Conquest of the beginning. Conquest at the beginning. In the middle, it is summit, the conquest of attainment. And it's the fruit, finally, it's through the conquest of the yogas. Yoga. No, is conquest. This, I mean, it's quite important, okay? Conquest of the beginning. Conquest means it's like you under the control, or it is like kind of the kind of over controlling. Something in English vocabulary. But this is like beginning conquest, in the middle summit conquest, in the end fruit conquest. And that is in the great perfections, base great perfections, in the path great perfections, and the fruition of the great perfections. The base at the root of the ground is natural primordial wisdoms. It is never falling into any extreme of samsara, nirvanas. And it is like impartial, great equanimities, and pervasive of the suchness. That is the beginning, the basic ground of the concourse of the beginning. In the middle summit, the concourse of the attainment. The summit of the path. Whatever arises, and lack kind of the no transform, no kind of changing, exaggerate, just to keep as it is. You never collected external appearances inside. Your never inner appearances never diluted outly. In the middle, there is no effort of any remedies. And there is no recognition of the appearances and Ripa awareness. And that perspective, this in the summit path of point of views, there's all the free of abandon and attainment. No hope, no fear. They're all the liberation of the graspings, positive or negative. You can to say the great liberation, absent of clinging of the king. And the end is the fruit of the conquest of the yogas. That is the result. Effortlessly, result of the fruitions of the vehicles. That is the summit result of the Ati Yogas, are liberated of the primordial purities, direct manifested. That is the fruit of the conquest of the yoga. Of course, you can too also is like related to this one. First conquest of the beginning. It is the primordial liberation of primordial wisdom, alpha purity, primordial purities. And in the middle, the summit of the conquest is great equanimity, like a kind of the natural space. And it is the summit to maintain the primordial purities, and that is the great attainment. And then is finally the fruit concourse. It is that is the kind of the activities. Activities. Activities and whatever existence qualities and the primordially in the primordial purities. And that is the bring into the path and conduct. And that is the conduct. It is the result, self-awareness, great self-liberation, and appearances, and aripa awareness, and arrive immediately be same times the liberations. That is the actions. Therefore, view, meditation, actions also. That is the meaning. You need to more searching. That is La Ronten Hagen said like this. I teachers, like my Dharma is like this, the great perfections. If one meditate on, during the day one can become Buddha, that same days, immediately be enlightenment. If one meditate on it during the night, one can become that very night you become the Buddhas. Fortunate beings whose past actions have created suitable condition do not even need to meditate. Wonderful, yes? They will be liberated simply by hearing it. It's true. Great perfection is the hearing liberation. Great perfection is the touching liberation. Great perfection is watching liberations. There's many kind of liberation. Guru Rinpoche said, many their existence through the meditation liberations. But without meditation, I have some special dharma, they make liberations. Without meditation, make the liberations. This is the great perfections. Since it is dharma for those of the eminently superior faculties, this is eminently superior faculties on the both, before in the, during the attitudes, the like kind of the skillful attitude of the Mantrayanas attitude, like practice the great 5 perfections, pure perceptions. That times it says like sharp faculties. The whoever to learn to study is like kind of the point of view, sharp faculty students. Because one like kind of the same meaning, but different is confused or not confused. I will teach it to you, Tupaga. Don't worry. After receiving the empowerment and instructions, Mala thought to himself, wow, I'm a very lucky person. It took me 2 weeks to obtain the main signs of the success. Casting spells. Casting spell is black magic. Several days were enough for the making hailstorms. This one is more than easy than that. Now here is the teaching even easier than spell and hail. If you meditate by day, you become a Buddha that day. Wow, wonderful. Malaripa's like really surprised. If you meditate by night, you become a Buddha that night. And if your past actions have created suitable conditions, you don't even need to meditate at all. Malaripa was so happy. I'm lucky. Since how I made this teaching, I obviously must be one of the ones with good past action. Because I made great teacher, great teaching. Don't worry, I will quickly meditate to be enlightenment. So he stayed in bed without meditating. Just relaxing, drink coffee, tea, milk, and where is my sugar and biscuit? He say like this. And someone's clean up and like a wandering mind and everywhere and jumping. Where is the? Oh, sure. Thus the practitioner and the teaching parted, opposite, contradicted companies. It is true that you told me, Ronton Lagan says. The Lama said to him, Tupaga, after a few days, you really are the great sinner. Oh, I told to you it's like very strange way. And you also doing, yeah, I cannot contain to you, said. And I have pressed to my teaching, like kind of true easy way to say. A little too highly means it's like kind of too far. Too high to say, it doesn't work for you, said. So now I will not guide to you 100%, but I understood you're really teacher connected in the past your actions. You should go to the hermitage of Trobolong, in Trobolong, there is a hermitage, like a retreat place. There is a direct disciple of the India Siddha Naropa himself. Marwa Lotsa's teacher is the Naropa. He is that most excellent of the teacher of the great perfections, the Mahamuda, the kind of translator, the king of the translator, Marpa. He is the Siddha of the new mantra traditions, like new mantra traditions start, Telo, Naro, Marwa is Kadit. This is like new. Early like mantra tradition is the Guru Rinpoche's into Tibet. From the Guru Rinpoche Shanta Rakshita Bhumamritas. New mantra tradition started Telo, Naro, Marwa, Malas. It is the without reviled throughout the three worlds. It's like kind of the superiors, unsurpassable Pantita, extraordinary, supreme, Sumit Pantita. Since you and he have a link, attempting for actions in the former life, Ronton Lagato to the Malaripa, go and see him. The sound of the Marwa, the translator's name alone, was enough to the surface Mala's mind with inexpressible joy. He heard Marwa's name at such kind of irreversible faith, devotion, inexpressible joy is arise in his mind. That is like this. Sometimes when we are really karmic connection teacher, is sometimes this can happen. When you hear name, or you see, or you kind of the really to meet, or something like this. He was charged with such bliss that every pore on his body tingle. His old hair is like, and immense devotion to the Marwa Lotsa swept over him, filling his eyes with tears. And he set off, wondering when he would meet his teacher face to face. His like kind of commitment. I want to set off. I wanted to see that this teacher face to face. And he's thinking, no, Marwa and his wife had both had many extraordinary dreams. Just before arrived Malaripa, both couple, Marwa and his wife, is Damima. And Marwa knew that Jethamala was on his way, reaching in his hermitage place. He went down the valley to await his rival. Now, before you go to, and in the history say, Damima, today is, is coming my most successful student. Could you give me one chance, beer? I will go to on the down valleys. Then he pretending to be just plowing a field like kind of farmer person, like kind of the doing in the field. Mala first met Marwa's son, Tarmandudi, not Tarmandudi. Here is Tarma. D is much better. Tarmandudi, who was tending the cattle like kind of the shepherd. Continue little further, he saw one man, that was Marwa, who was plowing, means it's like the machine he's holding and digging the fields. Of course, maybe it's like generally, I think in his story, surely that is not Marwa, because the great masters who can to do the field. But of course, some great masters like this. But then he don't recognize Marwa, but it was Marwa. The moment Mullah caught sight of him, this farmer person, he experienced tremendous, inexpressible joy and bliss. Wow, this person is wonderful. For an instant, like kind of few minutes, all his ordinary thoughts stopped completely. Nonetheless, he did not realize that was Marwa. It was the Lama of the Marwa in person, and explained that to him that he had come to meet Marwa. I have come from this place and I want to see the Marwas. And these persons, I will introduce to you him, Marwa Lotsa, myself. Marwa like answered him, this actually is this farmer persons. Plow his field for me. Can you work this my field to work properly? And he gives, leaving him a jug of the beer gift. He went off hermitage. Of course, Mila drunk, draining the jug to the last drop. There's nothing left. Everything's drunk. That was very good sign, good connections. Once in the stories. Set to work. As he works, so everything's done, and then he went to enter this hermitage. When he had finished this field, the Lama's son and the Tarmandode came to call to him, hey, now you can come. This guy introduced to you Marwa. They set off together, went into the Marwa's house. When Mullah was brought into the Mullah's presence, he placed the sole of the Marwa's feet upon the crown of his head and cried out, "Oh Masters." And that is like his stories when he entered into the Marwa's house. But before he saw in the below valley, the drawer of the field, that was in the throne. And he says, you want to see the Marwa? I am Marwa. Then he was so astonished. He immediately placed sole of his feet put in his head crown. Then he cried out, "Oh, Master Marwa Lotus, I am a great sinner from the West. I offer you my body, speech, mind. Please food, feed, and clothe me, and teach me the Dharma. Give me the way to become Buddha in this life, please, Marwa Lotus. It is not my fault that you reckon like kind of the complaint. You're such a bad man, and you're like kind of did things. Do not need to complain, that means it's not my fault. Bad man. Marwa replied, I didn't ask you to pile up evil deeds. I didn't order to you do like this. On my account, my account does not benefit me. You done yourself. Why you are complaining? What is all the wrong you have done? Then is Milarepa told him the whole story in detail, what he made the cast spell, killed many people, lot of like kind of hailstorm, like this. Very well, Marwa says. Marwa acquires, and he is like kind of agreement. In any case, to offer your body, speech, and mind is a good thing, like good danger, is a good connection. That's Milarepa, his first time voice, offer body, speech, mind. But says, at 2, food, clothing, and dharma, however, you cannot have all 3 from me, Marwa Lotse say. Either I give you food and clothing, and you look for dharma elsewhere, maybe others. Or you get your dharma from me and look for the rest, like food, cloth, something where else. Of course, that kind of Milarepa, that is choose dharmas. Make up your mind. You need to kind of make up your mind. You can choose. Make up your mind. Make up your minds. And if it is the dharma you choose, whether or not you attain Buddhahood in this lifetime, will depend on your own perseverance. It's like kind of your own diligence, depends. You put F first, perseverance, you should. But if not a person of the perseverance, surely not. But this depends your own perseverance. If that is the case, Marwa Lotse, the Mula thing, said Mula, since I came for the Dharma, I will took for provisions, that like kind of food and clothing elsewhere. He stayed a few days and went out, beginning through the whole of the upper and low Lodok, this village or the city or areas, which brought him. He got it like this, like begging barleys. 21 measures of the barleys. I think it's like a 21 measure means this like this measure is 28 kilos. Then is how much kilos? 21 kilos is like kind of the 400, maybe 40 something. 40 or I don't know. 28, yeah. He got it. He used 14 of this measure. Then he buy a few hundred copper pot. In Tibet, it's very expensive. You keep inside the water long times. Like 4 handles they have. And placing 6 measures in a sack, he went back to offer that and the pot to Marwa. And he was very strong guy. And like 228 kgs is like he can carry. And the top of that, this copper pot. And when he set the barley down with copper pot, it made the room shake. Marwa got up very angry. He said, "You are a strong little monk. Around you," he said, "are you trying to kill us? Or by making the house fall down with your bare hand? And like kind of that you want to kill to us, your kind of bare hand means it's like you want to murder us. Get that sack of the barley out of the ears." He's showing finger He gave the sack a kick, and the mullah had to take it outside. No choice. Later on, give Mabba the empty pot. That was a little bit strange kind of connections, something. You look in the stories. One day Marwa said to him, the man of the Yamduk, Tagalong is like one areas, and Limpa are attacking many of my faithful disciples who come to visit me from U and Zhangse. There's different areas, stealing their provision food and offering things. Brings hailstorm down on them, since that is the kill kind of dharma. Truth, if you do like this, then I will give you dharmas. Or this is also kind of the dharma practice. Then I will give you the instruction afterwards. Mullah caused like kind of the cost, devastating hailstorm to the fall in the both these regions, and they went to ask for the teachings. Like kind of the devastating, like kind of vanished. Devastating, I think. Yeah, okay. Devastating. Completely eradicated, like kind of devastating. Devastating. Devastated by his hailstorms. And he asked teachings. Marwa is very angry. You think I'm going to give you the teachings I brought back from India, the Narupas, at such great cost in exchange for the 3 or 4 hailstones I need to change? Just you did 3 or 4 hailstones on there. You just kind of the complain you did something. No, I don't want to give you. He said, if you really want to Dharma, cast a spell on the hell folk of the ladder. Oh, yes, again he needs to make magic. Because they attacked my disciple from the Nyalur. You need to make like kind of snowstorm. And are always teaching me with downright contempt. And also it's like kind of they and make kind of the content me very much, very strong. And you should to, if you need to teaching Dharma, you should to make the like kind of the snowstorms covers in Tibet. Heals folks. When there is the sign that your spell has worked, don't worry, I shall give you Narupas or instructions, which lead to Buddhahood in a single lifetime and Buddhism. Maladipa, of course, very happy. When the sign of the success of the evil spell appeared, and then again Malad went, asked for the Narupas or instructions, Dharma. Marwa was very angry. Hey, huge. It is perhaps to pay honor to your accumulation of the evil deeds. Like kind of you did evil things, and in that kind of the present you need something. You are claiming to want this oral instruction that I had to search for, never considering the risk to my own body and life. How he went to got this oral instruction from Naropas, even it's like regardlessly his like kind of body life, he's like kind of went to in India. You need to this one, hey, go away. This instruction will warm with the breath of the darkness. I suppose you must be joking, but I find this a bit too much. He said, anyone else but me would kill you. Why you don't ask me? Maybe Mara is a little looks liar. And first he said you can to make the snowstorm to make sign to them that he said he lost the promise, but Malaripa what he can do. Now I bring those hell people back to alive and return to the people of the and like kind of Yandrose. They harvest like field. You will get the teaching of you do, otherwise don't hang around me anymore. Go away. Of course, it might become very sad. But of course, Malaripa he did. Mila utterly shattered by this reprimand. Like kind of reprimand means it's like a blame shouted to him. Sat and wept bitter tear. Lot of crying and lot of like kind of tears come. What can I do? The next morning Marwa came to see him. I was a bit rough with you last night, he said. Don't worry. Don't be sad. I will give you the instruction. Little by little. Just to be patient. Since you're a good worker, I'd like you to build me a house to give to Tarmandudis. For the Tarmandudis, like kind of living place. When you finish it, I will give you the instruction, oral instruction of by Naropas, and provide you with food and clothing as well. But that will I do, surely, if I die in the main times without the receiving dharma. Mula asked. Marwa Losa replied, says like, Marwa said, I will take the responsibility of the making. Sure that doesn't happen. Marwa said, my teaching are not just idle boastings. Maybe a little true like far or true like kind of highly, but I have this kind of evidence. And since you are obviously have extraordinary perseverance, when you put my instruction into practice, we will see if you can attain Buddhahood in single lifetimes. Sure. Then after further encouragement in the same vein, Then he ordered many different type of the house, where he had Mela built 3 houses, one after the other, like kind of the circle, and at the foot, like a foot of the eastern hill, and a semicircle one in the west, and a triangle one in the north. Ooh, these 3. But each time, as soon as the house was half finished, Marva would beat Mila furiously, very aggressively, and make him demolish whatever he had built and take all the earth and stone he had used back to where he had found them. An open sore means it's a wound that occur, appeared the Mullah's back. But he thought, if I show it to the master, Marwa, he will only scold me again. Surely I could show it to his wife, Damima, but that would just be making a fuss. So weeping, like crying, but not showing his wound. He implored Marwa's wife, help him request the teachings. He asked Marwa to teach him. She asked Marwa to teach him. And Marwa replied, give him a good meal and bring him here. Of course, in his stories, that Yum, the consort, was so sad to see the situations mullahs. She was a lot of cry, together cry. Then his wife asked to the husband, Marwa, please can you teach to him dharmas? Then his Marwa said, okay, don't worry, give nice food, bring to me. He gave mullah the transmission and vows of the refuge. All this, he said, is what is called the basic dharma, the refuge vows. If you want to the extraordinary institution of the secret mantrayana, the sort of thing you will to have to go through this is this. And he recounted a brief version of the life and trials of the Naropa's history. How it's like Naropa's go under the hardship with Telupa. It will be difficult for you to do the same. He concluded. He say like this. At this word Malalipa felt such intense devotion of students and need like Naru. Marwa is the same telo. I want to like this, Pribe. That is the tears flowed freely. Like this kind of devotion, faith can come. And with fierce determination, he vowed to do whatever his teachers asked of me. He like kind of himself, he commitment like this. After a few days later, Marwa went for work and took Mila with him as his attendant. He went southeast and coming to a favorable saturated like place, piece of the ground. He said, make me agree. Square tower here, 9-story higher, with a pinnacle to top, making 10 like kind of floor. This is like ruin is still we can to see. Mularipas jankar gotops it. You won't have to make this building. You won't have like kind of the don't want to demolish down it. And when you have finished it, I will give you the aura instruction or the instruction. I will also give you provision when you go into the retreat to practice. Everything I can provide to you. Mala had already dug the foundations and started building when 3 of his teachers, more advanced pupil canvas pupiles okay, this kind of pronunciation is maybe you are familiar. For me it's very difficult.
Pupil.
People. Pupil. Pupils.
Pupil.
Student.
Pupil.
Can buy theirs like kind of the during the day are playing. And for fun, they rolled up the huge stone for him. And Mala incorporated incorporate it in the foundations. And then is what happened, we don't know. When he had finished the first 2-story, this house, Marwa came to see this stone, of course him, and asked him where the stone in the question had come from. Where it's come from? Immediately he recognized these stones. And Mullah told him what had happened, brought this, 3 pupils. My disciple practicing the yoga of the true face shouldn't be your servant. Marwa yelled, strong shouted to him, get the stone out of there and put it back where it come from. Sasamal dodomal said. Mila demolished the whole tower starting from the top. He shoot out the big foundation stone and took back to where it had come from. Really, Marwa Lotsa play with Mila, yes? Then Marwa told to him, oh, now you can to bring back. Bring it here again and put the back on in. So Mila holded it back to the set and put it just as before. He went on the building until he had finished. The 7th story. By much time, he had an open sore on his hip, wound skin. Now leave of building that tower. Marwa said, and instead built me a temple with a 12-pillared hall and a recited saturated sanctuaries. It's like kind of the I don't know, in Tibetan it's a Dzogchen. Dzogchen means it's
sanctuary.
Sanctuary is like more like upper floor. Rest sanctuary. And like quite very big 10 pillars. And of course he needed to do. So Mullah built the temple. And by the time he had finished it, also a sore had broken out on his low back. At the time, Miten Tsombo of the Dzogchen, Miten Tsombo of the Dzogchen asked Marwa for the empowerment of Samvara, Samvara or Samvara. And certain only of Paul asked for the empowerment of Ngirhya Samaja. It's a sound Ngirhya Samaja. On both occasions, Mullah, hoping that his building work and earned him to the right to empowerment, he thought like this, took his place in the assembly, sitting there quietly. But all the received from Marwa were below and blows and rebuke, and he was thrown out both times. Each empowerment, he like very strong rebuke and beat and blame, and he kicked out from these assemblies. Of course, Milarepa said his back was now one huge sore, with blood and pus running from 3 places: upper back, lower back, and hips. Nevertheless, he continued working, carrying the basket of the earth in the front of him, instead backside. Then Ngotun Tudor of the son, Shan, came to ask for the Hevaja empowerment. Mara's wife gave Mullah a large turquoise herself from her own personal inheritance, using it as his offering for the empowerment, like Milarepa. Yet this wife gave to the Mullah. Mullah placed himself among the row of candidates, but as before, the teacher scolded him and gave him a thrashing, and he did not receive the empowerment. First time he offered this turquoise, and he immediately said, "Where did you get this turquoise? This turquoise not belong to yours. You robbed my turquoise." He took turquoise and beat him and kicked out from the assemblies. He couldn't receive it. Of course, he said, this time he felt that where was no further doubt. He would never receive any teachings. He wanted of in no particular directions. He went away from the Mara, desperate. A family Lodo cook hired him to read the transcendent wisdom of 80,000 verses, this Pajina Paramata. Then, of course, he came to the story of Sabaparidetas. It's like kind of the ever-weak Bodhisattvas, how he can rely on the Bodhisattva. Samo got the Gitas. And that make him think, oh, I'm not good, I need to go back. He realized that for the sake of the Dharma, he must accept all hardship and place it his teacher by doing whatever he ordered, and he went back. He said so he returned. But again Mara only welcomed him with abuse and blows. And this Mala was so desperate that Mara's wife sent him to the Lama Ngukpa. Wife is also is too much my husband to the Mala. Maybe I will send Mala, you can go to the Lama Ngukpa. I will ask to him teach you dharmas. Who gave him some instructions, Lama Ngukpa. But when he meditated, nothing come of it science, because he hasn't got permission from his root teacher of the Mara, since he had not received his teacher's consent. Mara taught him to go back with Lama Ngukpa and then to return, like kind of the Mara message. Lama Ngukpa sent back my students, and then Lama Ngukpa sent to return to back Malaripa. One day during the first offering, Mara severely reprimanded Lama and Ngukpa and some other disciples, and was about to start beating them. And Lama Ngukpa and other students, they are making them kind of Nganachuka preachers. And then as Marwa start getting up, and he's beating and rebooting Lama Ngukpa, and also it's kind of his wife. Everybody he's kind of demolish. And Mala thought to himself, with my evil karma, not only do I myself suffered because of my heavy thoughts and dense obscurations, but I know how I am also bring difficult to Lama Ngukpa and my guru's consort. Also is consort receive short reboot. Since I'm just paling is more making the evil things, more and more harmful actions without receiving any teaching. It would be best if I died away with myself. He prepared to commit suicide. Lama Ngukpa was trying to stop to him. When Marwa came down, when is Marwa come and down and smooth, then both. Means it's like calling to both Lama Ngopa and Mila. Maybe it's good news. He accepted the Mila as a disciple, gave him much good advice, and named him Mila Dorji Jansen. Mila admitting victory banners. This is translate Malaripa Jansen's name. As he gave him the empowerment of Samvara, they made the mandala of its 62 deities clearly appear in the front of the mandala. Then, of course, Malaripa has more devotions. Mala then received the secret name of the Jepa Durji. Malaripa's secret name is Jepa Durji. Admitting laughters. And Marwa conferred all the empowerment and transformation on him, just like the content of one pot burning pot into the another. And therefore, maybe we can to stop 5 or like half hour and drink coffee, tea. Let's all